Level of organization. In this topic, we are expected to understand that living organisms, as complex as they are built up from something as simple as the cell, and the cooperation of these cells lead to something as large and as complex as living organisms. So let's start at the beginning. Living organisms at the very fundamental level exist as cells. And sometimes you do have living organisms that are primarily made up of cells. These are called unicellular organisms. You do have complex organisms like plants being equally made up fundamentally of cells, and you also do have animals being fundamentally or basically made up of cells. For unicellular organisms that are primarily made up of cells, they can exist in colonial forms. They can exist as filaments. They can exist as single free living cells. For plant cells, we have examples like the mesophyll cells, the xylem, the phloem cells, and even the guard cells. For animal cells, we have the blood cells, the nerve cells, the bone cells, the rods, and cones. On the other hand, when cells group together and perform similar functions, they form what we call tissues. An example is the plant tissue. Now, we can equally have organisms that exist at the tissue level. An example is the hydra. We equally have the animal tissues. Examples of plant tissues include the xylem, the phloem, the sclerenchyma, and the epidermal tissues. For animal tissues, we have the bone tissue, the blood tissue, the skin tissue, the nerve tissue. When tissues are grouped together to perform a common function, we refer to that as an organ. And when you have whole entire organisms being made up primarily of tissues, we can talk about things like the onion bulb as well as ginger. Of course, we equally have organs within the plants, just as we have organs within the animals. For plant organs, the typical examples include the leaf, the flower, the root, the stem. For animal organs, we have the eye, the nose, the skin, the tongue, the ear. Then we look at organ systems, or what we call systems. Living organisms are equally made up of systems, and these systems are made up of a group or collection of organs working together to perform a common function. So the examples of organ systems include the reproductive system, the excretory system, the digestive system, the circulatory system, the nervous system, lymphatic system, etc. When systems work together to sustain life, what we have is a complete organism. And for organisms, we have examples: plants, animals, fungi.